There's a fire sleeping inside you, not a metaphor, a real energetic force tucked away just beneath your navel, unnoticed, unexplored, and mostly forgotten. But not by accident. Ancient Taoist sages believed this fire was a living dragon, coiled in the lowest part of the body, silent, patient, waiting for you to remember. This dragon isn't fantasy. It's the electric pulse that fuels your vitality, sharpens your mind, and bridges the gap between the earthly and the divine. Right now, most people breathe shallowly, live distracted, run on fumes, unaware that they're sitting on a reservoir of untapped energy. But what if I told you that there's a technique kept secret for generations that can ignite that fire? A breathing ritual once reserved for initiates. A fusion of breath, awareness, visualization, and control. They called it the dragon's breath. More than just a breathing method, it's a coded activation of your energy system, one that begins in the body, but awakens the mind and elevates the spirit. In this video, you're going to learn the ancient origin of the dragon's breath and the mystical meaning behind it, the power of the Dantian, your lower energy cauldron, and how it fuels transformation. A step-by-step guide to the practice, blending breath, visualization, and subtle muscular control. And most importantly, the key principle Taoist sages warned must be followed, or this power could become destabilizing sushi. You won't just be learning a technique, you'll be activating a force that was once considered too sacred to share openly. So, take a deep breath, feel your abdomen rise, and know this, you are about to awaken a part of yourself that was never gone, only dormant. And once the dragon breathes, nothing remains the same. To understand the dragon's breath, we must step into a time when life was viewed not through the lens of productivity, but through the rhythm of the universe. Thousands of years ago, deep in the valleys and mountains of ancient China, Taoist sages lived not in resistance to nature, but in reverent alignment with it. They studied the winds, the movement of clouds, the rise and fall of rivers, not for weather reports, but to understand energy, flow, breath. They saw the human being not as a machine, but as a miniature cosmos. Heaven above, earth below, and in between. A spark of conscious life with its own internal currents and orbits. At the center of this inner world lay the Dantian, literally translated as elixir field. Located roughly 3 fingers below the navel, this was no metaphorical space. To the Taoists, the lower Dantian was a crucible, an energetic furnace where life force or qi could be refined and transformed. But this wasn't passive. You didn't just have energy. You cultivated it through breath, through intention, through sacred awareness. And when that cultivation was refined, when the internal fire burned with balance and focus, something remarkable happened. The dragon awakened. Not a beast, not a deity, but a living current of fire-like vitality that rose through the spine, nourishing the organs, expanding the mind, and restoring balance to the soul. This is what Taoist internal alchemy was all about, turning breath into power, tension into medicine, and the body into a temple of light. The dragon's breath was one of their most guarded teachings, passed only to disciples who demonstrated patience, humility, and maturity. Why? Because this wasn't a casual wellness hack. It was a force. Mishandled, it could lead to energy imbalances, emotional overload, even physical distress. But used properly, it became the root of longevity, radiant health, clarity of mind, and what the Taoists called immortal spirit. Not in the sense of living forever, but in living fully aligned with heaven and earth. Taoist legends speak of the jade pearl, a glowing orb of energy cultivated in the Dantian through years of practice. This orb, once formed, could be felt, moved, even seen in meditation. It vibrated like a warm sun in the belly. It pulsed like a second heart. And through it, the dragon moved. The breath was the bellows. The Dantian was the forge. And the dragon was the fire. This was not esoteric poetry. This was a lived, practiced science of energy, long before modern physics spoke of quantum fields or nervous system regulation. But as empires rose and fell, as materialism replaced mysticism, these practices faded into secret lineages, preserved only by those who understood their value. Now, thousands of years later, as humanity searches once again for real vitality beyond pills and stimulation, the dragon stirs once more. The ancient breath is returning. Not through temples, but through seekers like you. But before we ignite this sacred technique, we must first understand how it works, not just in theory, but inside your living body. Because the dragon doesn't awaken in stories. It awakens in sensation, in rhythm, in breath. Let's begin with the lower Dantian, the core of Taoist energy cultivation. Physically, it's located just below your navel, but energetically, it's much more than a spot on the body. It's the cauldron, the place where life force is gathered, stored, and refined. Not just energy for the body, but energy for the mind, emotions, and spirit. In Taoist thought, this center is not just anatomical, it's alchemical. The dragon's breath be here, not in the lungs, not in the throat, but in this quiet, forgotten chamber beneath your belly. Imagine it as a hidden forge, one that glows when breath, focus, and intention come together. Modern science speaks of the enteric nervous system, sometimes called the second brain, a dense web of neurons in the gut that governs digestion, immunity, and even emotion. Taoists understood this thousands of years ago. They didn't need labs. They had presence. They knew that breath into the abdomen calms the nervous system, oxygenates the organs, and more importantly, awakens the dragon. So what is the dragon? The dragon is the rising movement of qi, the vital life force. When you breathe shallowly, this energy stagnates. But when you breathe deeply, consciously, and into the Dantian, you begin to stir something ancient. The dragon is the symbolic embodiment of that rising power, the same power that ascends through the spine, nourishes the brain, and expands awareness. But breath alone is not enough. The dragon's breath technique requires three sacred components: deep abdominal breathing, visualization of light or fire, subtle muscular contraction to seal the energy. Let's break each one down. 1. Deep abdominal breathing. You inhale slowly through your nose, directing the breath not into your chest, but into your lower abdomen. This isn't forced, it's grounded. Your belly expands like a balloon, not with strain, but with surrender. As you exhale, your abdomen falls. The breath exits through your nose or parted lips, longer than the inhale, calming your entire nervous system. This breathing style massages your internal organs, increases circulation, and triggers parasympathetic response, the body's natural healing mode. Or 2, visualization. Now as you breathe, you see, not with your eyes, but with your inner vision. You imagine a golden orb in your Dantian, small at first, like a spark. Each inhale fuels it. Each exhale condenses it. It grows, glows, and begins to pulse, like a miniature sun in your core. This is the beginning of the jade pearl, the mystical energy mass cultivated by Taoist masters. Over time, you'll begin to feel it, not just imagine. A subtle warmth, a gentle pressure, a magnetic hum. This is the dragon stirring. 3. Subtle muscular contraction. At the peak of each inhalation, you gently contract the perineum, the root area. Not tightly, just enough to feel a subtle internal lift. This is the lower seal, the cauldron's lid. As you exhale, you release it. This seals energy into the Dantian and builds pressure without force, preparing the energy to rise when the body is ready. These 3 actions, breath, vision, seal, together begin the awakening of the internal fire. Not by strain, not by willpower, but by alignment. And here's what starts to happen. You begin to feel your abdomen glow. Thoughts slow. The body softens. And a new frequency takes over, steady, alive, ancient. The dragon breathes through you, but it does so gently. Because the dragon is not rage, it is mastery, power under control. This is only the first phase, the ignition. What comes next is the guidance of that energy through your inner. Because what's been awakened must be circulated, or it may burn out too quickly. And that's where we go next. So now, the fire is lit. You feel the warmth. The jade pearl is forming. Your breath has slowed. Your awareness has dropped from your head into your core. But awakening the dragon is only the beginning. If left unmanaged, fire consumes. If left unstirred, energy stagnates. And if left uncirculated, the power you've just cultivated can become chaotic. That's why Taoist masters didn't stop at activation. They trained students in how to circulate the energy, not randomly, but deliberately, through a sacred internal loop called the microcosmic orbit, also known as the lesser heavenly circuit. This orbit follows a specific energetic path, up the spine, down the front. It connects your root to your crown, and your crown back to your root, like an internal river of light. Let's break it down simply. Step 1. Tongue on the roof of the mouth. Why? Because in Taoist energy medicine, the governing vessel, which runs up the spine, and the conception vessel, which runs down the front, are like 2 disconnected wires. Your tongue is the bridge, the energetic switch. By gently placing it behind your upper teeth, you close the circuit. You complete the loop. You give the energy a pathway. Step 2, the ascent, rising energy. After building heat in your Dantian, on your next inhale, visualize that golden energy rising from the perineum up to the sacrum, along your lower back, through the thoracic spine, to the base of the skull, and finally reaching the crown of the head. This isn't just mental imagery. As you do this, you might feel a warmth, a tickle, or a vertical wave of energy rising like a slow flame. The dragon isn't charging, it's gliding. It's learning to fly through you. Step 3, the descent, returning to source. Now on your exhale, guide the energy gently down, from the crown to the space between the eyebrows, then to the throat, down through the heart, past the solar plexus, and back into the Dantian. This is the ceiling, the completion. The dragon curls again into its lair, not to sleep, but to rest. This cycle, up the spine, down the front, creates an internal circuit of nourishment. Over time, this orbit clears blockages in the nervous system, balances the hemispheres of the brain, and activates your entire endocrine system: pineal, pituitary, thyroid, thymus, adrenals. Step 4, breathing rhythm. Inhale for 4 to 6 seconds, ascent. Exhale for 6 to 8 seconds, descent. Breath is soft, continuous, effortless. This rhythm ensures 2 things: calmness of the nervous system, stability of the energy flow. It should feel like tracing a golden ribbon with your awareness. Not forcing, not pushing, but gently guiding. 2 golden rules: no force. If you feel heat, dizziness, or pressure, slow down. The dragon isn't meant to be whipped into action. It listens to gentleness. Gentle consistency. 10 minutes daily is more powerful than 1 hour of force. Just like a farmer waters the soil patiently, so must you tend your energy field. As the days go on, you'll notice subtle changes. Your posture aligns naturally. Your breath deepens without trying. You feel a soft hum in your belly throughout the day. Anxiety gives way to clarity. Your presence feels magnetic, calm, unshakable. This isn't imagination. It's alchemy. You've begun to rewire your field, to become a living circuit of conscious energy. You're not just a body. You're a current, a vessel for the dragon to move through, breathe through, and elevate. And the beauty of it all? It starts with breath. Awareness without practice is just inspiration, but awareness with practice, that's transformation. Now that you've awakened the inner fire and learned how to circulate it, it's time to anchor it into your life, because the dragon's breath isn't a one-time ritual. It's a discipline, a way of breathing, living, and connecting to energy every single day. Here's how to practice it safely, powerfully, and sustainably, no matter where you are on your journey. Step 1, create sacred time, 10 to 15 minutes. You don't need a temple. You don't need incense. You just need presence. Choose a quiet space. Morning is ideal. Your system is clean, the mind is soft, and the energy is fresh. Sit comfortably with your spine upright, hands resting on your knees, palms facing up. Close your eyes. Take 1 deep breath and begin. Step 2, the 3 pillars of dragon's breath. 1, deep diaphragmatic breathing. Inhale through your nose for 4 to 6 seconds. Let your belly expand naturally. Exhale slowly through your nose or lips for 6 to 8 seconds. Allow your belly to fall back gently. This breath alone shifts you into parasympathetic state, calm, grounded, alert. 2, visualization, the inner flame. With each breath, picture a golden sphere of light in your lower abdomen. Imagine it growing brighter, denser, warmer with every inhale. As you exhale, feel it condense, becoming more focused, like molten light. After a few rounds, this image becomes sensation. That's the dragon waking. 3, lower seal activation, perineum contraction. At the peak of each inhale, gently contract the perineum, muscles at the base of the pelvis. This seals the energy. At the end of each exhale, relax it. This rhythm trains your energy to stay in the Dantian, preparing it to rise on command, not leak out unconsciously. Step 3, circulation, microcosmic orbit. Once you feel warmth, tingling, or heaviness in the lower belly, on inhale, visualize energy rising from perineum up the spine. On exhale, guide it down the front of the body. Complete this cycle for 3 to 5 minutes. This circulation distributes the energy across your meridians, endocrine system, and organs, energizing your whole being. 5 daily integration keys, Taoist lifestyle wisdom. 1, farmer's patience. Energy is like crops. Don't overwater, don't rush. Breathe, observe, trust the slow unfolding. 2, softness of water. Don't force the breath. Flow with it. The dragon flies on smooth wind, not turbulence. 3. Joyful heart, lightness and emotion, openness and energy. Smile gently into your abdomen as you breathe. Chi follows joy. 4. Body as temple. Stand tall, eat clean, sleep deep. Your posture, digestion, and rest all influence chi flow. Avoid overstimulation, excess stress, and emotional extremes. 5. Anchor awareness in the Dantian. Throughout the day, when walking, speaking, working, gently breathe into your lower belly. Feel the warmth. This keeps your center active even off the cushion. How you know it's working? Warmth or pressure in the abdomen. Clearer thoughts, deeper sleep, less reactivity to stress, emotional stability, gentle tingling, vibration, or internal pulsing us. Over time, these grow into vitality, magnetic presence, and mental radiance. You're not just breathing anymore, you're alchemizing. And once the dragon learns your rhythm, it begins to move through every breath, every word, every step you take. You've just remembered something ancient, something your body always knew, but your mind had forgotten. The breath is not just air, it's a bridge between your physical and energetic self, between earth and heaven, between the person you've been and the power that's been waiting inside you all along. Through this practice, you've awakened the dragon, not as a myth, but as a living current that flows within your very core. You've felt it stir in your lower belly. You've guided it along your spine. You've watched it rise and return. This is how the ancients did it. Not with noise, not with effort, but with rhythm, with reverence, with breath. And now, you've taken your first steps down a path they once walked. Not as followers of superstition, but as masters of energetic sovereignty. Remember this, the true power of the dragon isn't in how loud it roars, but in how deeply it listens. Not in force, but in flow. Not in seeking power, but in cultivating balance. You don't need to control the world. You only need to breathe from your center. Because when you live from your Dantian, your sacred core, everything else begins to fall into place. So take this with you. Your power was never missing, only scattered, only dormant. Now it's returning. Every breath, every intention, every moment of presence brings you closer to it. And when you embody this, truly live from it, you don't just awaken energy, you become it. The dragon doesn't sleep forever. And now that it's breathing again through you, the real journey begins. If this message stirred something within you, share it. Not for views, not for hype, but for those who are still searching for what you've just remembered. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. The dragon is awake. Let others know that this forgotten wisdom is returning through us. Together, we rise, one breath at a time.